everyone. I would like to go over exactly how much you need to give to God. And I got a lot of the concepts from both the Bible and from based on this book called Clean Wealth by Pastor Dong Ho Kim. That's just a translation. The first part is tithing. You've probably heard a lot about tithing, and tithing is one tenth, or so 10% of all your earnings should be given to God. And this is based on this verse from book of Leviticus 27 to 30. A tithe of everything from the land, whether grain from the soil or fruit from the trees, belongs to the Lord. It is holy to the Lord. So you might say, wow, that's a lot. That's already like my retirement savings, because a lot of the financial professionals, they recommend that you save about 10 to 15% of your income toward your retirement. And so it could seem like it's a lot, but if you think about it, God gives you everything, and He opened up opportunity for your job. He's given you wisdom and strength to be able to carry out your job, and also your health. And so technically everything belongs to God, and He's letting you keep 90%, so He's being very generous. And also, given the fact that you did had to go through the grind of it, the stress of it, you had to carry it out yourself, so I think God is still awarding you with the 90% of it. That 10% in the Old Testament, where this verse is from, the Levites, they were serving God, serving in the temple and the tabernacle. That work, I think can be comparable to the work of the ministers and pastors and preachers and the church staff. They are doing that to support the house of God in church. So that 10% should go to the church staff. And I know that there are some bivocational pastors, they kind of sustain their own need, and while they serve as a pastor, but that's much less that they can dedicate on preparation, on the message and prayer, shepherding and counseling that they can do, and all the services they can offer up to the church. So that's just a background of what tithing is. And it's a really good test of where your heart lies. So if you're able to set aside 10% for God instead of becoming greedy and being really hesitant about it, it's a really good way to tell whether money is before God in your heart. And if you think that that's 10% is a lot, it's like one of the very few times in the Bible that God tells you that you can test Him. It's from the book of Malachi, chapter 3:10. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. So meaning church. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. So you could be giving God 10%, but God will in turn give you abundance. So I think it's a pretty good deal. And the 10% is actually not all of it. I think a lot of people know about tithing, but they don't know about this part in the Bible. It's actually 1/30th of your income that should go to the needy. And then it says in Deuteronomy 14:28 to 29, at the end of every 3 years, bring all the tithes of that year's produce and store it in your towns, so that the Levites who have no allotment or inheritance of their own — I talked about Levites earlier because they're working for tabernacle and for God, serving the temple and the church — and the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your towns may come and eat and be satisfied, and so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. Orphans, the foreigners, and also talk about widows. They just represent people who are needy and they are in poverty. Every 1 out of 3 years. But if we calculate our income and our paycheck, it kind of boils down to 1 day's paycheck out of 30 days. It's just about 1/30th of your entire income. So that should be set aside. I think some people have funds called social justice fund that they set aside, so then they can help those people that you come across that are really in need of monetary support. So those are what's required of you, and everything else you're free to spend because God has given it to you. And it says in Bible that strive to give more, when you give to the needy, give to others, give to God, and that's the wealth that gets piled up in heaven, and that's the wealth that you can enjoy forever. So you're converting your worldly wealth, so money that you earn here, into kind of a currency in heaven by being able to donate to God and to others. So just wanted to leave you with that, and happy giving, and to the life of generosity.